if no one minds, I'm going to stand away. Are you going to be mad at me if I don't stand at the podium? No. Because talking in a microphone is always a little challenging. I've got one of those voices. You can probably hear me okay, right? So, thanks a lot for having me here today. It's really a privilege to come and talk in front of a group of realtors because I'm one of you. I'm a real estate broker. I work up in the Santa Clarita and San Fernando Valleys for Keller Williams. I've been in real estate for about 6 years now and mostly do commercial real estate. Yes, many of you think I'm probably a fool for doing that, and you're probably right. But I've enjoyed my career in real estate. I did residential for about 4.5 years, and I transitioned to commercial about 2 years ago because well, there's some needs and some investment groups that I had relationships with, and we're doing all sorts of fun stuff in this diabolical market that we're in. So I'm here today just to kind of answer some questions. As my travels in the fire department world go, like I said, I've been around for a little bit. It sounds like I'm a real important guy, but I'm really not. I'm pretty much an idiot, and I'm okay with that because I enjoy being kind of an idiot. But one of the things I do pride myself on is being involved in not only the city and the community, but also in what we call the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. And that's a group that dedicates themselves to helping and supporting those that are diagnosed with cancer in the fire department family. So, believe it or not, 1 in 3 firefighters will actually be diagnosed with cancer during their careers. Isn't that crazy? And that comes because of all the different toxins that we're exposed to. Many of you have seen vehicle fires, you've seen house fires, and you see us rushing into these big suits and these air bottles. Well, all that stuff that gets on our suits and on our air bottles ends up coming back to the fire station and transmitted through our skin. So we're learning a lot more in these last couple of years that we've been exposed to some pretty amazing things. What I want to talk about today is what is the role in the fire department as it relates to real estate. Many of you are probably sitting in your seats wondering, why is this guy here? What is he going to talk about that's going to be compelling for me as a realtor? Anybody have any thoughts as to why the fire department is an important player in the real estate world? What do we do? Yeah, we protect real estate, right? And sometimes we get there a little too late and the house burns down, and what is that for you? A great opportunity, right? Kidding. Where's the NHD guy? I want to get him back in here. Is there a restoration affiliate here today? I like to pick on them too. So, one of the things that's important, and where there's a lot of parity between the fire department and real estate, is a term we use a lot, and I think a lot of us are cavalier about it, but the term integrity. A lot of us use integrity in our marketing materials, right? So when you go knock on someone's door, you leave a flyer in their front door, you're talking about why you should get this listing in your listing appointment. One of the words you always use is integrity, right? Or something like integrity. Reliability. I'm going to work 110% for you. Am I sounding right? Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The fire department doesn't have that option. We are always at 110%, and we pride ourselves on integrity. Now, integrity is often misinterpreted as this thing where you have to do everything right all the time. And in the real estate world, we sort of have to do everything right all the time, right? Because if we don't, what happens? Our good friends, the attorneys, come and join us and say, hey, maybe you might want to think about doing something different next time. But in the fire department world, when we respond to your house or we respond to someone's house, we have to be at the top of our game. We have to know about every nook and cranny of a contract. We have to know every drug dosage. We have to know everything there is, every procedure about fighting a fire and saving someone's life. 100% of the time. Do you adopt that same principle in your practice? Are you at 100% every time you walk in and deal with one of your clients? If you're not, you should be. How many people have been around the real estate world for more than 5 years? Most of you. How many people are relatively new to the real estate field, maybe 2 years or less? So what you're probably seeing is there's a tremendous amount of work that has to be done in the real estate world, right? Yeah. Things that in 5 years ago we didn't have to do. You basically put a sign on someone's front lawn and what happened? It sold 15 minutes later with 16 multiple offers. And the majority of your time was doing a multiple counter offer, right? Yeah. Well, nowadays, it's a little bit different. We have to work for our money, don't we? We have to spend a lot of time on the phone with short sale negotiators or bank people at 100% in your real estate practice every day. And the answer is majority of you are not. It's easy to say, oh yeah, I'll send in that avid tomorrow. Oh yeah, you know what? I'll get those signatures tomorrow. Folks, we can't do that anymore. Or you know what, yeah, I'm just going to write an avid without even going to look at the property. How many people have done that? Don't you lie to me, I know better than you. How many people have written an avid and never actually seen the property? Thank you very much. We can't do that anymore, can we? Because we have to preserve the integrity of this business. As you know, realtors oftentimes are regarded very close and similar to car salesmen. No offense to them. But we've done a really good job in the recent years because of all the things we have to negotiate and the things we have to do of restoring the profession of real estate, haven't we?
Yeah.
So why aren't you at 100% all the time? It's exhausting. Of course it is. Real estate is not necessarily, it used to be viewed as, hey, I make commission, it's not really a career, it's just kind of a job. Real estate, folks, is a profession. It is a career. We have a code of ethics. We have things that we have to abide by. We have integrity standards. We can't be at 50%. The days of being at 50% and making a bunch of money doesn't happen, does it? So how does this relate to the fire department? How many people in here are involved in commercial real estate in any way, shape, or form? Bless your hearts. What do you find the most difficult thing about commercial real estate?
Getting a loan.
What's that?
Getting a loan.
Getting a loan, right? What else?
Safety.
Anybody have to deal with the navigation of ordinances, zoning, any of that fun stuff? Yeah. And we all know how much fun that is, don't we? We talk about that and we go to the Kiwanis meetings, right? I mean, it can be a nightmare, can't it? And why is that? People think that the ordinances and the laws that govern occupancies are very unreasonable until we hear about some sort of a tragedy. Like in Rhode Island when they had a concert where 81 people died. And why did they die?
The doors.
Because the exiting wasn't appropriate. Why do people die in fires? Number one cause of death in fires. Smoke inhalation, because they were not aware and alert that a fire was happening. Even in this day and age, the number one cause of deaths in fire is because no one knew there was a fire in their house and they died of smoke inhalation, usually in the middle of the night. So I think CAR, what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, they put this really neat disclosure together, right? The water heater and smoke detector disclosure that you have to have signed. It's not optional, it's mandatory. And what does that tell people? That's telling people that you as a real estate agent have determined that your seller is indeed complying with the most important mechanism by which we can save lives from fire, and that's having smoke detectors in your house. No brainer, right? Water heater thing? Why is the water heater disclosure so important? What used to happen with water heaters? In earthquakes, or it gets bumped and it falls over, and what is a water heater fueled by? Natural gas. And what does natural gas tend to do when it finds an ignition source? Blow up your house. Not a good thing, is it? So the water heater and smoke detector disclosure is so important because that's what kills people. So we're learning about this, right? So when you hear about the fire department coming out and enforcing one of these codes, or when you're going through the review and the plan process, trying to get a building approved or a project approved or a remodel approved, and we're asking you to put fire sprinklers in, it's not because we want to, it's because we know how people die. And our job is to prevent people from dying. Kind of makes sense, right? Your tax dollars are hard at work here, folks. So that's what we do. Any questions or comments about, or any questions that I can answer for you about what the fire department's role is as it relates to real estate? Yes, sir.
Why does it take so long to get to a fire?
What do you mean?
You're complaining in Los Angeles that it takes a lot longer because of false directions, or what? Explain how you get the call in, what you do.
Let me explain about what the San Gabriel Fire Department does. The San Gabriel Fire Department is actually 2 fire stations, but we are part of a 44 fire station conglomerate. There are over 12 cities that respond into our city if we need them.
What are they?
Burbank, Glendale, Pasadena, South Pasadena, Arcadia, Monrovia, Monterey Park, Alhambra, San Marino, South Pasadena, and Montebello, and Sierra Madre. But Sierra Madre doesn't really get down here very often. So basically in Burbank, if a big fire breaks out in Burbank, because of what we call this, we have this thing called unified response. We have one dispatch center. So one dispatch center dispatches all 12 cities. So if we have a fire in San Diego, how many people were here when we had the 7-Eleven fire up on Las Tunas? Remember that? Yeah. The hottest day of the year, of course, and I'm working, of course. And we had Alhambra, Monterey Park, LA County, Pasadena, and Glendale at that fire. We had 5 different participating agencies fighting that fire. And it's because San Gabriel is part of this unified response organization. So what they do, the dispatch center figures out who's closest, and they send them. You asked why it takes so long. The average response time in San Gabriel is 4 minutes and 22 seconds for anywhere in the city, any time of the day or night. Average, 4:22. We're separate from the city of Los Angeles. We don't really have any relationships with them other than a mutual aid agreement if something big should happen. So for us, we're there in less than 5 minutes to any kind of incident that occurs. Yes, sir.
You know, Temple City, Rosemead, and San Gabriel has some area belongs to county area.
Mm-hmm.
Do you also respond for those fires just in case?
No. Well, yes. The answer is yes and no. There's a good realtor answer. Well, the answer is yes and maybe no. Half of yes and 2/3 of no. We are not responsible for the primary response into those jurisdictions, but we have an agreement with the county because we have fire engines that are very close. That if an incident does occur, we will go and help them. So if they call, we will actually automatically dispatch one of our engines to assist them. Because more than likely we're close, like Garibaldi and San Gabriel Boulevard, there was just a house fire there not long ago. We were the first ones there. Even though it's not our district, we got there first because our fire engine was closer. Same thing happens with San Marino. A lot of times the north part of San Gabriel, which we call South San Marino. Is that videotape?
Yeah.
So up in South San Marino, Engine 52 covers the north part of our town. That's the station up on North Del Mar, 115 North Del Mar. But a lot of times, Coolidge and those streets up in the very top of the city, San Marino's fire engine is closer. So they'll get dispatched to that first. So they get there much faster than we do. As a division chief, my responsibility is to provide incident command. So if there's a big incident that happens in the city, it's at my direction where units go. We also do that for San Marino. We provide that service for San Marino. So we have a very good relationship with them. We also have a very good relationship with Alhambra and Monterey Park. Yes, ma'am.
How about the recall for some certain type of furnace?
Recalls for furnaces?
Yeah.
There's lots of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't really deal much with that. That's mostly the furnace manufacturers that deal with that. But that's, and this is where, here we go again, RESPA violations. What should you have known? Is it our job to know whether a furnace has been recalled?
No.
No. Is it reasonable? Are we doing due diligence to go and inspect the furnace and make sure it's not on the recall list?
No.
Absolutely not. Is it a good idea to mention that to your clients perhaps? That, hey, this looks like one of those furnaces that may have been recalled. You may want to look at that. Your home inspectors, they're supposed to know that, aren't they?
Yes.
Do they know that?
No.
Maybe.
Maybe.
That's a big maybe. If you got a good one, fantastic. If you don't, you're not going to find a good one. Sir.
When you go into another city because they have a need for extra help or something, does San Gabriel get paid for that?
Yes.
I mean, do you work out some kind of a...
We have a reciprocity. The question was, when we go to another city, does the city get paid or reimbursed for that? And the answer is yes. We're very fortunate in San Gabriel because the city of San Gabriel's management team, the city manager, and the city council, public safety is one of their biggest priorities. We're very lucky to have a very strong, very solid council that has a lot of solidarity when it comes to emergency response. It is their priority to make sure that this city is safe no matter what the cost. And there are some costs with that. For instance, we have fire trucks that are capable of maneuvering in areas that a lot of other fire trucks don't. We have some specialized equipment like an urban search and rescue truck just for this city. So if we should have a catastrophic earthquake of some sort, we have the specialized tools and equipment that you see on TV to get people out of buildings, to break through rubble, to crawl into confined spaces and rescue victims. We have that here in this department because the city has chosen to participate in those essential programs. Those are statewide programs that allow us, the city of San Gabriel, to benefit from a lot of things. And that's been supported 100% by the council for the last 15 years that I've been here. And that's a huge difference from a lot of other cities. For those of you that know, Temple City's the same way, Rosemead's the same way. But our city council and our city management have really dedicated themselves to making sure that whatever we do, this community is safe. Yes, sir.
Bryan, we've discovered in the housing committee that very few city employees, fire department, police department, live within the city. And that goes throughout the San Gabriel Valley. If we have a catastrophic event, Chino's going to do very well. But we don't have first responders or people here to handle the problem. What do we do?
That is a problem. Lucky for us, most of the people live within 5 miles of the city. So most of our firefighting staff, I'd say at least half of them live within 5 miles of the city. The reason that I don't live in the city is because I couldn't afford it. This is before I became a realtor, of course. But I live in Valencia, and that's 44 miles from here. So and here's the other thing that I do in the fire department is I'm responsible for emergency management. which means all of the disaster preparedness and all of the emergency response in the event of a disaster is under my command and control. So luckily for me, if it's a catastrophic event here in the city, I will get here somehow. And I have a car and I have helicopter access. So I can get here if I have to get here. But what we really rely on, I'm glad you brought this up, is this thing called the Community Emergency Response Team, CERT. Anybody ever heard of CERT? CERT is a program that teaches the basic essentials of survival, search and rescue, and basic first aid to members of the community. Has anybody gone through this class? What'd you think of it?
I love it.
Isn't it great?
I love it.
And it's not designed for you to become a professional first responder. It's designed for you to kind of learn what to do. I'm at home with my family. We just had a major earthquake. I don't know if my house is stable or not. I've got a cut on my head. What am I going to do? You can fix that. We teach you how to deal with that. And then go on one step further, you can actually help with the neighborhood search and rescue. You can learn light search and rescue techniques. So if you're missing somebody in your neighborhood, you can go and assist and try to find them. That helps us tremendously. It's a great program. It's free. It's free. Whenever I say the word free, every realtor that I know is like, oh, free, really? I'm like, I see all these affiliates. I don't see licorice. I don't see any snacks. What's the deal here? They don't allow that here? I'm talking about, oh, there's a donuts next door.
Can we put one on here at the board?
I would love to. Our city offers it every 3 months at the fire department in our emergency operations center. I'm leaving my business card here, so if anybody is interested in that, it's on our website, sgfd.org. Or it's, I'll leave my business card, you can contact me and I'm happy to share that. Now, where does that add value to your practice as a realtor? You're trying to convince someone to buy a property you have listed in this city. What are some of the things based on what I just told you that you can use as marketing?
4.5 minutes of fire service.
Average response time, 4 minutes, 22 seconds. They have a community emergency response team. They have an urban search and rescue team. The fire department is 2 stations, but they have access to 44 different fire stations in a 54-mile geographical radius. How great is that? What else? They have very stringent codes that allow for people to be safe in their homes. We require them to have sprinklers if they're adding on. If you have a new building, you know you have to put sprinklers in if you improve it greater than 25% of the total square footage. Why is that? Because we are a fire-safe community. The Insurance Service Organization rates us a 3. The highest you can get is a 1. Most other cities are 4s and 5s. We are a 3, which means your insurance rates in San Gabriel are much lower than your neighbors.
What do you have to do to get to 1?
Spend a lot of money, hire a lot of people. Things we just can't do. Yes, ma'am.
How often do you inspect the businesses?
Once a year.
Every single one of them?
We go through every single business in the city once a year.
I think you had a question on that end.
Yes, sir.
What's the best place to install your carbon monoxide?
Where's the best place to install your carbon monoxide detector? That's a good question.
At the eye level. Some say below, some say top, some say ceiling.
Carbon monoxide does not rise to the ceiling. Carbon monoxide is generally a low-lying gas, eye level or below. Near the kitchen? Why? What's in the kitchen? The stove. The stove. And how many people have ever left their stove on and filled your house up with gas? Yes, sir. Yeah, I work for the fire department. I've done it. Don't be afraid to admit it. It happens, right? But carbon monoxide detectors more often than not fail. So you have to replace them once a year. You can go buy them at Home Depot. They're cheap, but they fail. They need to be replaced once a year. Talking about fire safety and smoke detectors. How many people in here tell their clients, make sure you change the batteries in your smoke detectors when you get here? What do you give as closing gifts? You know what I give? Want to hear what I give? 2 fire extinguishers from Home Depot. They're $19.95 a piece. I give a pack of 9-volt batteries. And what are those for? Change the batteries in your smoke detector and your CO2 and your CO detector, right? And I give them a disaster kit that has meals for a day for them and their families. Blankets, potable water, in a nice little bucket. Here you go. Welcome home. I don't give them knives. I don't give them flowers. I don't give them any of the crap that goes right in the trash can. Yes, sir.
Now, on the carbon monoxide, if you have a battery, power, and battery backup, you still need it to replace once a year?
If you mean if it's hardwired and then battery backed up?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't need to replace those. Those are pretty reliable. Kitty makes those, and they're pretty good.
You know, the instructions we get for the carbon monoxide is put them right outside the bedroom.
There should be one in a hallway, and there should be one in near a kitchen.
Oh, that's
They
smoking
never
detector.
tell us what position to put it.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys should enlighten them on
no
where the gas is laid.
Yeah, the problem is if, most people don't want to have a carbon monoxide detector at eye level in their hallway near their bedrooms, so they put them up top, which is okay, because eventually as the house fills up with gas, it's going to detect it, and they're very sensitive, and they work well. Sometimes people that put candles out, it'll emanate up there, and it'll cause it to go off, so they're pretty sensitive. So I think it's safe to put them on the ceiling next to a smoke detector. Yes, sir?
Yeah. Bryan, the height restrictions in the city, is it tied into how far the ladder will go up in a particular city?
Height restrictions as they relate to
Building.
the size of buildings,
Size,
yes.
building size?
That's a consideration, but we have 2 truck companies, one in Alhambra, one in Monterey Park, that we utilize as part of our Unified Response Agreement.
What's the typical cost of like a fire engine if you're going to buy one?
If you're going to buy a new Firefighter truck outfitted, it's about $575,000, and if you want the ladder truck, the big hook and ladder fire truck, that's about $1.2 million. And it requires 4 people to ride on it.
The city of San Gabriel is going to lower the railroad track
Yes.
shortly.
Yes.
How's that going to affect the fire department, and what plans are you making to?
We have we met quite a bit with ACE and all of their people and their projects and the railroad, and we actually have devised it was almost a year ago, we actually put together a plan. The question was, we're lowering the tracks in San Gabriel, as you all know, which will save hopefully some Del Mar traffic in the morning. My God. So what we're doing is we've already comprised an emergency plan for their trenching operations, and then once that's done, we will have a whole new protocol and procedure and standard operating guideline of how to operate during, or should there be an event on those train tracks. Yeah, we've already done that. One more question, Kathy? How am I doing on time?
Last question.
Last question, okay.
On the 911 call, if you're enrolling for resident, why did they send a paramedic truck and a fire?
I'm glad, somebody asked that question. Why in the world do I have a fire truck and an ambulance and somebody else sitting at my front door? Yeah, so as paramedic work has evolved, and I've been a paramedic for 22 years, it used to be we just sent the ambulance. Now, because we are so advanced, we do 12-lead EKGs. How many people here have a 12-lead EKG? If you go to the doctor recently for heart problems, we can actually do 12-lead EKGs. We have 43 drugs that we give patients as a precursor to their arrival in the hospitals to prevent any more damage to hearts and other ailments that you may encounter. We have drugs that allow you to survive from any kind of an ailment that you have. Basically what they did is they took the emergency department and they packed it into a van and put it on wheels with lights and sirens on it. Well, as you can imagine, all these advanced procedures that we do require a little bit of effort. We need some help. You see a doctor in the emergency room, how many people are helping the doctor when he's dealing with a patient? 4, 5, 6? Same thing. We're not doctors, don't get me wrong, but we have a lot of procedures and a lot of portable equipment that we can actually sustain life with. And rather than having 2 people be overburdened and miss something, we want to send as many people as we possibly can so that we can help them and give them a chance to survive. Because that's what we do. So that's why you have so many people that show up at your house.
Do you have any sample